What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my next, I guess, NBA series prediction. So I did my NBA playoff predictions to start, and it was just the first round. I never actually did second round predictions, so I wanted to come back with my conference finals predictions. So today I'm going to be doing the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors. If you guys notice, I'm actually doing a new format. I'm going to try to do for these type of videos, just simplify it, use the team logos while I talk about them. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with basically three keys to winning, and then X factors for each team, matchups I want to watch, or matchups that I'm excited to watch, so I think will have a big impact on the series, and then just my overall prediction for the series. So go and start on the Golden State Warriors side. So obviously the championship favorites, setting the record for wins in a season, and getting through Portland in 5 games. It seemed like it was a little bit more of a struggle than it should have been, but Portland played them extremely tough. The Thunder are a team that got through a Spurs team that had a fantastic season, 67 wins, one of the best seasons ever, just got overshadowed by the Warriors this year. Now, 3 keys for me for the Warriors. One is get a little bit of separation between you and the Thunder. Obviously, the Thunder have been a pretty bad team in the fourth quarter this year. It did step it up big time against the Spurs, kind of reversed that whole fortune there. But, you know, don't take it down to the last, 5 minutes of the game like it seemed they did every single time this year, especially when Steph Curry hit that game-winning shot to win 121-118 back a few months ago. Now, I think that's one of the bigger keys for them. Obviously, that's a big key to any team winning a series, but this is a team that has an ability to get out in front early. Obviously, best shooting team I think I've ever seen, at least in my lifetime, dating back to '95. But anyway, second key for me is obviously for Steph to stay healthy. Now, I'm not the biggest Steph Curry fan in the world, but it doesn't take the biggest Steph Curry fan in the world to realize that he's just got fragile ankles. Now, obviously, the knee injury was another part in him missing part of the Portland series and also part of the Houston series, but ankle problems have dated back to when he came into the league. Now, I think if Steph can stay healthy, if he can play full minutes, then they'll be fine, and Sean Livingston is a starting quality point guard on some of the, I'd say, lower half teams in the NBA now. Also, my third key for the Warriors is I'll say just not to underestimate the Thunder. I know that these 3 keys seem simple, but this is a Warriors team that should be able to take this series no problem. Obviously, 73 wins. They were 3-0 against the Thunder in the regular season. This is a team that's gotten through with only 2 losses so far in the playoffs. Took 5-game series against Houston and Portland. And Portland gave them, I think, a good test that, might prepare them a little bit for this Thunder series starting tomorrow. So, my X factors for the Warriors, one is a big one, and that's Draymond Green. He's been huge against the Thunder this year. I believe I was looking at an ESPN graphic today. There was something that was saying that they were like I think it was like plus 36 when Draymond Green's on the floor against the Thunder, and like -9 when he's not. So again, big time player there. They play very well against the Thunder when they run with that small ball lineup. Thunder not a great not a great team defending in transition. I feel like Russell Westbrook gets caught on the offensive end of the floor sometimes, doesn't always get back. That was somewhat of a problem against the Spurs. Also turned it over quite frequently. Not the most efficient player. And having a guy like Draymond Green that is such a potential threat as a stretch 4, can draw it out to 3, but can also drive and play in the post with the best of them. So that's my that's my first key for the Golden State Warriors. Now my second one would really just be an added bonus for the Warriors, and that's Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is a guy that hasn't had a great season in general. This is a guy that was talked about getting max money in the offseason. If he does leave the Warriors, either way, I don't think he's deserving of a max contract after how he's played this year. Obviously, that's up to who looks at him. He's a per 48-minute average beast because I believe he's one of 36 players in the NBA to shoot over 30% or 38% from three, while also averaging 12 points per game. And he is an athletic guy. He's a great wing. He helps that Golden State Warrior lineup be tremendously potent. But again, he's had somewhat of a weak postseason so far compared to the rest of that Warriors lineup. Klay Thompson has been fantastic. Draymond's been fantastic. Steph Curry, when he's played, has been fantastic. Obviously, you'd like Bogut, Andrew Barbosa, who's also been pretty big. Sean Livingston, Festus Ezeli, all those guys to step it up. Festus Ezeli and Steven Adams could be a good matchup if that rotation ends up happening a couple times. Festus Ezeli and Andrew Bogut actually seemed like later in the Portland series actually got pretty much equal playing time. Now, I guess I'll get into the matchups last. So moving to the Oklahoma City Thunder side of things. So the three keys to me for the Thunder, one is the biggest key, and that's to keep the momentum and the confidence going. You just dispatched a Spurs team in 6 games that had a historic season. Tim Duncan, not the same anymore. David West didn't have a great series. LaMarcus Aldridge was obviously fantastic. But this was a Thunder team that just locked things down at the end of the series. Winning a 6-game series against the Spurs was, like, obviously it's going to give you some otherworldly confidence. It seems like Kevin Durant's playing with that confidence, that swagger that, this might be his last good run with the Thunder. I mean, no one knows where he's going in the offseason. That's a completely separate discussion. But Russell Westbrook might be gone in 2-3 years as well. So it seems like this is one of the biggest final pushes for the Thunder. Now, again, go back to the first key of just playing with confidence. Kevin Durant averaging 36 points per game this offseason. Russell Westbrook, while he hasn't been the most efficient player, still has been fantastic. Steven Adams has stepped up in a big way, has averaged a double-double so far this postseason. He's been big. It's just about keeping that killer instinct and letting Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant do their thing. It seems like Billy Donovan has found that right combination of coaching, yet still letting the two superstars, two of the top 5 players in the NBA, at least in most people's opinion, including mine, do their thing. Serge Ibaka has been big. He actually handled LaMarcus Aldridge pretty well down the stretch run in the Spurs series. That's going to be a big matchup between him and Draymond Green, but I'll get into that one a little bit later. So when you're talking about the second key for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think that's the rotation. I think that's the bench stepping up in a big way. You've got to have a big series from guys like, if he does get some playing time than Cameron Payne, I think he could be big if he does get some playing time behind Russell Westbrook. But Deion Waiters is going to be big. Enes Kanter is going to have to be big. He's been big so far this year, one of the better 6th or 7th men in the league, depending on where he is in the rotation that night. But you're going to have to get good play from the backups. Obviously, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook can't do everything. Like I said, Steven Adams has stepped up huge in this postseason. Andre Robertson has definitely played well, one of the better defensive shooting guards in the NBA. Now, I don't know if you're going to outplay the Warriors' rotation. You're probably not when it comes to the bench, because the Warriors do have a pretty deep bench, one of the more talented complete rotations in basketball. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, guys like Harrison Barnes, Sean Livingston, Festus Ezeli, guys that could start on a lot of other teams. Excuse me. But lead into my third key for the Thunder, which is take advantage. This is going to sound weird, but take advantage of the nights where the Warriors are off. So the Warriors rely so heavily on outside shooting, and Steph Curry has honestly been great this year, and it's been rare that him and Klay Thompson have both run into an off night shooting wise, but when they do, you have to take advantage. This is going to be an absolute treat for a matchup of shooters. Obviously, Kevin Durant, one of the best shooters on the planet, and then also Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, two of the other best shooters on the planet. So take advantage. You can't let those go, and obviously the Thunder, they got to take advantage of any opportunity they can get. So talk about the X factors for the Thunder. My first one is Serge Ibaka. I think that obviously he's part of that three-headed monster for the Thunder. Like I said, that matchup with him and Draymond Green is going to be huge, but again, I'll get more into that later. Serge Ibaka, again, a guy that's going to have to shoot well. He does have three-point range, obviously. He was big defending LaMarcus Aldridge, like I said, in the stretch run of the Spurs series. And he's just going to have to be that third guy to step up for the Thunder, along with Steven Adams, if they want to be able to play a complete team game and not just have to rely heavily on Russ and KD. Taking any weight off their shoulders in any way you can is going to increase your chances of being able to win this series. And my second X factor for the Thunder is Enes Kanter. Again, goes back to the same thing I was mentioning with Serge Ibaka. You have to be able to get some extra rebounds to give yourself more chances, keep the ball out of Steph's hands, out of Klay Thompson's hands, out of Draymond Green's hands. The Thunder were the #1 rebounding team in the NBA this year. That's not a stretch, that's an actual stat. Again, keep that alive. You're going against a team that plays small ball. You got to take your advantages where you can get them. So getting to my three matchups to watch in this series, and the first one is the biggest one to me, aside from the 4 stars of this series, and that's Serge Ibaka and Draymond Green. Those guys are still stars in the series, but obviously outside of the big 4, Thompson, Curry, Russ, and KD. So Draymond Green's going to have a big series either way you look at it. I could see maybe he's probably going to get the Warriors 1 or 2 triple-doubles. He was a triple-double machine this year. I believe he had somewhere around 12 or 15 triple-doubles this year. And you're looking at a team with Draymond Green that is so much more effective with him in the lineup against the Thunder than not. I mean, obviously, when you're talking about a guy that's a top 20 player in the NBA, maybe even top 15 now, obviously they're going to be more effective with him in the lineup. But he's the third piece that makes that small ball lineup go and be the most effective starting 5 in the NBA. Now, Serge Ibaka, obviously the guy that has the athleticism, the rim protecting ability, the footwork to be able to keep up with a guy like Draymond Green on both ends of the floor. He's aggressive, he's strong, he's smart, he's got a high basketball IQ. Again, if anyone can keep up with Draymond Green in this league, I think it is Serge Ibaka. Now, my second matchup is obviously probably the biggest one in the series, and that's Russ versus Steph Curry. So, Russ and Steph, it seems like Steph's kind of owned it. Russ, again, he has trouble in transition sometimes when he's defending. Again, sometimes he gets a little bit lazy, but this is going to be a little bit of a lopsided matchup offensively for both guys. Both are obviously a lot better on the offensive floor than the defensive end. Not to take anything away from both of them. I think Steph's a better defensive player than a lot of people give him credit for. Russ obviously has the athleticism to keep up with anyone. He's the most athletic point guard in the NBA. And again, if Russ can play efficiently in this series, then who knows what can happen. If he can shoot over 45% while turning the ball over less than 3 times per game, obviously that's probably not going to happen. That's just not Russell Westbrook. But if that can happen, then that makes him one of the most dangerous players in the NBA. I don't know. There's not much else to say for that. If Russ is able to be the more effective point guard in this series, then I think that might be one of the biggest keys to the Thunder winning. So, final matchup for me is Steven Adams against whatever big is playing against him. Whether that's Andrew Bogut, Festus Ezeli, Draymond Green if he's even playing the 5, which I think Serge Ibaka would probably be going up against him. But anyway, Steven Adams was so big in the Spurs series. He was just able to out. He was just able to outclass Tim Duncan. Like, he knew he was better. Tim Duncan's just at that age where he doesn't have much left. Steven Adams was really able to bully him, get a lot of rebounds, be able to get up and down the floor quicker. And while that's probably not going to happen against Bogut or Azelli on a consistent basis, if he can be that double-double a night sort of player and be able to, bring in maybe 4 or 5 more points than the opposing team center and maybe 2 or 3 more rebounds, maybe even 5 or 6, then that gives the Thunder a leg up, again, one that they're going to need. So getting to my prediction for the series, I think this is going to be a Warriors in 6. I think that's a pretty common prediction for this series, but the Thunder are going to give them a test. There's no doubt about that. This is a Thunder team that, like I said, might be KD's last run. It might be Russ's last chance to, compete for a championship in OKC. So this is going to be a team giving it a full run, and of course the entire team probably has that mindset. This team has gotten better and better as the playoffs have gone along, and this is a team with maybe the best player on the planet right now in KD, the way he's playing consistently. He's been just in the playoffs. I think he's been just as good as Steph. I mean, obviously not during the regular season, but KD's been unreal throughout the playoffs, shooting over 50%. Again, 36 points per game. He's been great. So, good way to finish out his tenure with OKC if it does end up being that way. But yeah, that pretty much does it. I will be coming back with my Raptors Heat preview right after this. Probably will be a little bit shorter since, honestly, Raptors Heat, Raptors Cavs, since it probably will be a little bit less entertaining. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.